Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining today's AP Nature Education Seminar. We are bringing you guys all together from across Canada for this webinar that focuses on a program that grew out of a shared passion between educators and ENGOs and the government to bring place-based hands-on learning about natural world into AP classrooms. And over time, it's become a welcoming space where students and teachers practice observation, inquiry, and the performance tasks that connect rigorous AP skills to the landscapes and communities around us. We're really glad you're here to add your voice and to share your school story, your group story, and the amazing things you're learning in this class. I'm especially thankful to welcome our guest alumni today who have taken the class. They're coming back to share the work they're doing after seminar, whether it be in research or in their UNESCO clubs, and the way that AP Nature Seminar influenced their studies, community projects, and the next steps in their academic journey. I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. I'm joining from Amiskitchi-Weskaikan on Treaty 6 territory. This area is colonially known as Edmonton, Alberta, and has been a traditional gathering space, traveling route for many peoples, including the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Dakota Sioux. Because we're meeting virtually, I also want to acknowledge the traditional lands we're all joining from across Turtle Island. Please take a moment to think about how one action that you could take today that could have a positive impact on the lands and waters where you live. Indigenous peoples have lived in reciprocal relationships with places for time immemorial. Today, let's keep that ethic in mind as we work towards more sustainable, respectful approaches to the environment that we share. My hope is that by the end of our time together here today, we'll leave with a deeper appreciation for our shared waters and a clear sense of the roles we each play in protecting them. We'd love to hear from all of you, from all schools, all shapes and sizes, all contexts. And so I'm going to be calling on you to sort of, you can raise your hands or you can participate in the chat, you can use emojis, but I want to thank you for everything you bring, your curiosity, your questions, and your care for the natural world. So let's learn from one another today.
So just like what my
your name, yeah, or what interests you like about the environment.
Yeah.
Like,
So start now.
no, she'll tell you.
Whatever.
Okay.
Name, age, school.
So I'm Madeline. I'm from St. Max and I'm 16. My first research, like what I was working on, was green transportation and green spaces in and around schools. And green transportation and green spaces have like been proven to amplify both mental health and the like desire to learn, I guess, or like the want or need, or like I'm not really sure how to explain or what word to use for that, but like kids are more inclined to want to do work in green spaces and stuff because they're not so confided in a school. Green transportation has also been a big thing with that too as well. Like obviously, like diesel cars, diesel buses, stuff like that is really bad for our environment. The CO2 and just the carbon emissions in the air are really bad. So the green transportation is a really big thing that needs to happen. Like more of it, more electric cars, more electric school buses, and I know there's been issues with those, but they really can and will help. But yeah, the green spaces are a very big thing. And it's difficult for in and around schools like us where we're uptown and there's a bunch of buildings surrounding us. But even like we go for walks, we went down to the waterfront where we just got to like go and speak to the whole class, but in the outdoors. And I know for me and a couple of my other friends in this class, it was just like, it was so much easier and nicer to speak to all 58 of us when we're outdoors. Like it was much better. And we went for a walk down to the cathedral where we donated like a whole bunch of like pencils and toys and stuff like that for a shoebox project where we shipped them off. And even just that short walk out of this school where we got to be in nature and all that stuff was so nice. So doing a project on that, on the green spaces, and then like using that in school was just definitely like proved my research and my group's research and stuff. So yeah,
Amazing. Oh, thanks so much for sharing, Madison.
yeah.
Or Madeline.
Switch here. Thank you.
Good job, Maddie. Thank you.
Hello.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm Sophie. I'm 15. I'll be 16 on Friday at St. Malachy's. My research group right now is researching into lichen compounds in sunscreen, um, making it better for UV protection and also better for the environment because the chemical UV filters that we use in sunscreen now is damages the coral reefs in the water. And so I'm working with an AP research student to allow me to research about how we can use lichen to create better sunscreen.
Amazing. How's that going? How does it feel like it's going?
Um, pretty good. We were researching about the specific chemicals and the UV filters in regular sunscreen and in lichen that we could use today.
Mhm.
And I found a bunch of research on it already, and it's very fun.
Oh, that's cool. And do you think you'll do like a prototype, or is it more the theoretical aspects?
Um, for now, in seminar,
Mhm.
it's mostly theoretical.
Mhm.
But Talami in research, I think, is more into the prototype.
That's so cool. Well, and it's something too that if you start now and like how can you keep advancing it, right? That's so great that you could build upon it. That's amazing. Thanks so much for sharing, Sophie. Hello.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. You can start whenever you like.
My name is Sophia. I am 16 years old and I am a student at St. Malachy's Memorial High School. And a couple weeks ago, I was in my UNESCO group and one of my friends and one of my project partners, she suggested that we do a project about composting because we have a recycling club in the school and we have regular garbage, but we don't have any composting. And she thought that that was an issue because we have cafeteria and we have our cult tech, and they have a lot of food waste. And we also have a garden outside of the school that is kind of dead. So we just we wanted to help with that. So we were researching different types of foods that you can and cannot compost. And we were thinking of just applying for different grants to see if they would give us money to
Amazing.
fund this so far hypothetical composting project. So we went around and we talked to the different teachers. We talked to the culinary tech teacher and we talked to the woman who runs the cafeteria, and they were on board. We also talked to the biology teachers, and they were also on board because they do projects with food or experiments with food. Um, so we were also I did some research about what foods you can and cannot compost, and we were thinking that we would have two compost bins, one for one for the food that we make our own fertilizer and then we put into the garden in our school, and then one bin for the compost that gets taken by the city. And so we were just doing research and we were emailing the city and we were also doing financial stuff. So we were researching the prices and where to buy our stuff, like the compost bins, the bags, everything of that sort. And so, so far, it's going great, I think. And we also would like to figure out a way how to keep this project up and running after we've graduated as well. And after we hopefully implement this project in our school. We're also hoping to expand to more schools because I think composting is a great idea and not many people do it.
Hmm. So amazing. As you were talking, I sent Miss Petal a list of 8 grants right now that are out there for students, up to $5,000. So most are like between 5 and 3,000, but they're just sort of, it's a list. Some of them had the deadlines in the next sort of couple of weeks, but all of them are around agriculture, food, outdoor landscapes. So I think, I mean, tying it to your outdoor garden is key, right? And like, how do you bring all these programs full circle? Because it just shows that it's not about one thing, right? That you can have the garden, but then you can also do composting in the school, and students can do this and students can do that.
Absolutely.
And so, anyways, tying it all together, right? And so, even if the grant doesn't seem like it would fit, I would still apply and like try to reference those other things. Like, yeah, we're doing compost and it relates to our garden because of this, right? So I just sent those to her. I would really encourage you guys to look at them because that's what you need is that funding, right? To put it into action. And the long-term sustainability is also key factor there. Awesome. Thank you
Thank you so
much.
much. Yeah.
We have our friends who are, I don't know if you can see them. Oh, I can see myself. Ooh, that's always a shocker. Well, hello to our friends in joining us from Miss Healy's class. How are you guys today?
Say hi to Ryan.
Awesome. So good. Did one of you want to come up and introduce yourselves and your school to, I don't know, if Sophie, if the other girls are still in the room, do they want to come and sit near the monitor?
No, they left.
Parker's here. Parker's here. We have another.
Awesome. Hey,
Parker's
Parker.
joined us as well. Yeah.
So cool. All right, over to you.
We're from Northeast Kings Education Center in Canning, Nova Scotia. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it.
And what else? Just tell them what we've been doing in AP Nature.
Well,
I put him on the spot.
yeah, we've been going on a bunch of walk the talks with a bunch of different guest speakers. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see how different people have different perspectives on like just a normal forest.
Yeah, so we we go on the exact same walk with different presenters with different perspectives
So
on things, and
cool.
those. So that was one of the big things we've been doing. We haven't been focusing on action projects too much because we've been doing like a mini PT one prep, but we're in the spring launching more of those things. So anyways, this is all them. It's weird. I teach from the back of the classroom. So this is my video turned around. So that's why we have most of the back of their heads. So
That's awesome. Love the hairstyles. So good. Does anyone else want to tell me about like what their favorite part of the like because you guys are brand new this year in the AP Nature Ed. Miss Petal's class over in St. John has been doing it for since the beginning, a few years now. I think someone's getting voluntold over there to go up and talk. But what's something new or interesting that you've done compared to other classes that you enjoy in this one?
I'm going to put us on mute and force someone to say that. But before I do, one thing's neat about us is we're 2 AP classes in one.
Okay.
We're all grade 10 students. And so we're not only doing AP seminar, but we're also doing AP environmental science.
Oh,
So
fun.
we kind of hit it at both angles in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But again, haven't launched into a lot of action projects. But anyone willing? I have some people that are always talking. Are you willing to come say something you've enjoyed? Paxton, is that you? Yeah. Okay. Again, I kind of put them on the spot and didn't give them any warning what we were doing today.
A lot.
You're gonna have to come a little closer there, buds. There you go. Right close to the mic.
Yeah, either course.
The opportunity to learn things that aren't in traditional courses, such as discussing new perspectives and just overall just having new opportunities.
Amazing.
That's a beautiful answer. Thank you. Killian, do it.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Killian. I like AP because it's more of a challenge than my normal classes are, and it's one of the main reasons I'm in here. I like the struggle.
How do you, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
I just like the increase in like difficulty, and it preps for like college and what I'm going to be doing later on down the line.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Like I did a couple masters, and the seminar format is the seminar format. Like you are learning exactly how you will learn in university. And if I had taken a class that taught me those skills in high school, I would have been so much better prepared. So I just have to say, like, kudos to all you guys. I wish I had taken this class. Well, it didn't exist when I was a teenager because I'm an old lady. But if I had taken it, I just want to say how well prepared you guys are becoming to how you do research and how you write and how you expressed your thoughts and your ideas. And that's just so important, sort of in today's era of misinformation, especially around the environment, right? When I was at one of your students, is it Oliver? Miss Healy,
Yeah,
was it Oliver? Came with us to COP28 in Dubai. And COP is the United Nations Climate Conference, where all the parties of the United Nations gather together and create policies around climate action. So that's where the Paris Agreement came from, Kyoto Accord, all of those large international agreements came from COP meetings. And Oliver was part of our group that came to Egypt. And then from St. John, our students who are on the other end of this call, they just sent a student from Harborview down the street to COP 30 in Brazil, which happened last week. And what's really interesting is as students, your voices 10 years ago were not allowed. They were not allowed in these spaces. And now Oliver was invited in. Sarah was invited in to speak on the largest stage. Sarah spoke on the largest stage at the highest level meeting on the last day, saying these are the demands of students. And so what the skills you're gaining here now are allowing you to articulate your thoughts, your ideas, your passions that I can, and the people who are making policies, when they make policies around education, they're thinking back to when they were a student, which could have been before color TV, you know? And so to think that they're making education decisions that impact you when they have no idea what education is like is kind of worrisome in some ways, that they don't have your ideas. And so what I love about seminar and the opportunities you're having to write and share is that you can make statements like that. You can back them up with real research and real ideas. And this year at COP, they came out with a firm statement after hearing from all of our students that one of the next battles they have towards next COP is climate misinformation. And I think we all know where a lot of that's coming from. So I think next as we move forward with AP Nature and AP Environmental Studies, you'll see more of that coming out, where the UN has said this needs to be a focus of the next decade, is how do we combat that in our schools and our education systems, in our culture, and what do we do to solve it? So that'll be your job as you graduate, is how do we solve this issue? All right, does anyone else? I see Parker, and then Parker has a new friend in St. John. And I'll relieve you of your spotlight because you look very nervous that I'm going to ask you another question. Parker, tell me a bit about you. I'm going to put the spotlight on you now.
Yeah, I'm Parker Daly. I'm 16 years old, and I'm currently an 11th grade student at St. Malachy's Memorial High School, and I'm currently in AP Nature Ed. And so far on Habitat Day, we've been learning about a lot of green topics in Nature Ed, such as deforestation and like expanding protected areas in New Brunswick, because there's been a lot of like deforestation in recent years, and it's really ruined a lot of the local environments and with the green spaces. A lot of them are being replaced with industrialized areas. I also recently did a project on increasing funding for outdoor learning spaces in New Brunswick, because we did a research project and we found that outdoor classrooms overall greatly increase students' test scores and reading scores. And it was determined that most schools don't have outdoor learning spaces because a lot of schools are in very urban areas and there's not enough space for outdoor classrooms, as they do require a lot of space, such as at St. Malachy's, which is in the heart of St. John. and there is no room for any green spaces at St. Malachy's. Or our neighboring school, St. John High, also has no room for outdoor green spaces because it's just surrounded by a bunch of buildings. So for us to be able to make green spaces, we have to tear down nearby buildings, which I don't know if it'd be like worth the funding to be able to do that, but it would greatly increase students' test scores and it would overall help their learning. And in addition, outdoor learning can greatly help with immersing the students in what they're learning, such as like doing like botany. Students can have a firsthand experience in what they're learning.
Amazing. So what has been the most impactful part of the course then to you?
Um, I don't know.
It sounds like even maybe getting outside.
Yeah. I mean,
Have you-
even just like going for walks, I feel like just like walks outside would help.
Mhm. And have you had that before in any other classes, or is this sort of the first time you've been?
I did have it in middle school. We did have an outdoor classroom.
Mhm. And do you think that, I know sometimes when I work with teens or high schools, when they're talking about creating outdoor spaces, it's like this, that's something just for elementary kids. Like, how do you think you would convince your peers that, getting outside isn't just for little kids, it's for everyone, that it's good for you?
Well, I mean, I find that a lot of the time when you're getting outside, it's a lot quieter than indoors, and there's like a lot less to focus on. You're really able to immerse yourself in your work, and I feel like it helps me focus personally.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Parker.
And it's exciting for us. So this is our friend Caden, and Caden's with St. Malachy's, we've been doing this for several years, AP Nature and AP Seminar. So his older sister was one of our first students that had done AP Nature with us, and she had looked at antibiotic resistance. And now here's Caden, one of our newest AP Nature students, and he can tell you about his current research that they're looking at.
We're currently looking into pesticides and how we're looking to replace what we have currently, which is BDK, with a more sustainable and environmentally friendly removal, which is lichen.
Amazing. And how is that going? How does it feel like your group is doing, or how is it developing?
You're working with them.
Yeah, it's going well. We're learning a lot about the environment and like how pesticides work and like a lot about like sustainability for the future and like how we must continue to look to the future and how we can protect it.
Nice. What do you think has been the most impactful part of the course for you so far?
I think the most impactful part would probably be like learning about like the damages that we're currently doing to the environment. Like I think it really affects me personally because I live in like a very like a dense like rural area where like environmental security has been at risk for like a long time. And I think it's important that like we learn about it so like we can protect ourselves for the future.
Amazing. Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you go into the course because your sister liked the course, or just because you liked Miss Pell,
Both
Mr.
probably.
Stacy? I mean, they're pretty cool teachers. I definitely would have signed up for that class. Awesome. Thanks so much, Kaden.
Thank you.
I know that Miss Healy has someone who'd like to share their PT1 project with you guys as well. Over to you, Miss Healy. Perfect. We can't hear you yet.
There we go.
There we go. Perfect.
I'm Ella. Our group for our mini PT1 project is looking at what impacts a shift to plant-based diets across Canada would have over 4 different lenses. So each member of our group took on a different lens. I took on the environmental lens, and then there was an economics, ethical, and health lens. And we've been developing solutions based on what we've gathered from our research, which is leaning towards plant-based diets would be very beneficial over all four of those lenses.
And has that impacted how you think about your food consumption?
It has. Yeah, my family naturally plant-based diets have been something that we lean towards and value. We have a small farm and we've raised some of our own animals. Like we have chickens because we want to make sure that we know that the eggs that we're getting are from like chickens that had a good life and a good home and not factory farmed. So that's been something that I've been raised with. And so I'm really happy that this is what our group is doing for our question, because it's really helping me like see how what I've been doing matters and how continuing to do it will help.
I think too when families make choices like that, they get questioned a lot, because whenever you're doing something that's a little bit not the mainstream, there's a pushback, right? People, no matter when you're doing anything outside the mainstream, it could be any sort of that. And so for you to have that sort of sense of I've grounded myself in the research and I can speak to that in different lenses is really super valuable. That's awesome. How about your other, is this part of a group? And what does, yes, you said all that already, sorry. How has it impacted the rest of the group's members if they aren't, having animals at their home and stuff like that?
Do you want to talk from Ella's group?
Sure. So I have a part-time job in like a fast food chain, and I got the first our meat substitute burger the other day because I wanted to try it just to have like a hands-on experience for our project. So it was interesting. I wouldn't say it's not bad. It was just kind of weird because I'm used to eating just a normal burger.
Yeah, it's different, right? Like you have to I think when people say that they're trying to find a different type of burger, that's great because it's a different flavor, it's a different texture, but it's not going to be the same, right? But I find that if you use veggie round in like tacos or something where there's lots of seasoning, my kids can't tell. Oh. I'm getting some from behind you. That's awesome. All right. Thanks so much for sharing.
I have one other group that wants to tell you about their project.
Yes. And then we'll go back to Miss Petal in St. John. Come tell us about your project. Oh, and tell us your name.
I'm Elena, and my group's looking at taking a slightly different approach to the project, and we're looking at the impact on developing countries of other countries eating local. And through our research, we found that it can negatively impact countries that are developing because they rely heavily on food exports and stuff, and food exports will decrease as more people increase in eating local.
Cool. How are you feeling about the research and what you're learning?
It's really interesting to see because a lot of the time eating local is seen as a good thing because it's supporting your community and stuff. But it's interesting to see how it can positively impact our community, but negatively impact other people's.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the world food supply chain is complicated, and any sort of changes causes ripples, and it's just where are your priorities and how do we balance all those needs, right? Well, that's really interesting. I'm sure that you'll come up with all sorts of complex conclusions and I think one of the great things about seminars is you realize there's no right answer sometimes, right? It's a lot of gray. And how do we navigate all that gray? Right? Awesome. Thanks so much. Anything else you'd like to add? No, that was a slinking away. Awesome. All right, over to Miss Petal in St. John. I'm going to spell
So this is Sarah Daigle. She's from St. Malachy's. She's in grade 12, so she was one of our first cohorts in AP Nature. And so I thought it'd be fun to have a student that, kind of is taking AP research this year, but took AP Nature last year and can kind of talk about the things she's doing now that were positively influenced by AP Nature experience.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of experience with like environmental topics, and currently I am leading the St. Malachy's Envirothon team. So if you're not like familiar, we go to Mount Allison every year and we talk about an environmental issue. It's different every year. So this year it'll be pollution. Last year I knew the year before it was clean energy. And I know that AP Nature Ed has really helped me, get all my thoughts really clear about environmental issues. and I did a project in my AP Nature class, and it was about like clean energy in rural parts of New Brunswick and hospitals. And I think that really opened my eyes to a lot of the things we can do in our communities, like implementing these clean energy, sources. Yeah, and with Envirothon, we do like tests with forestry and aquatics and wildlife and soils. So I'm getting like a lot of broad education as well as like specializing in certain things with my projects. And I feel like AP Nature Ed has really helped me become more educated on my current environment.
Amazing. Okay, so as someone who's gone through, what do you think, this is a two-parter, so what do you think was your biggest struggle in the class? And then what tips do you have for the students who are joining, who are currently in it?
Yeah, so my biggest struggle, I would say just like wrapping my head around everything, because I feel like the deeper you go, the more confusing it gets, and the more things kind of like conflict with each other. And it is a little disheartening almost when you're learning about all this stuff. It can be really easy to like get you down and think about all the bad things that are happening. But I find like something I would say to the new AP Nature Ed students is think of things like more positive and less about, oh, this is bad, this is happening and it's awful. More about what can we do to counteract these awful things that are happening in our environment.
Awesome. So good. I remember this program was funded initially by a grant from the government, and one of their metrics that we had to sort of assess students on was, am I more hopeful? And what they were hoping is at the start of the project of the class you wouldn't be hopeful, and at the end you would. And what actually happened was students started hopeful and then ended the class like devastated. And I think it's an interesting sort of like, I flipped it back on them, because for them that was a failure in our part. And it was more that as you become more aware of the complexity of addressing these issues, you realize like, I don't know if I have the skills. I don't know if I can do this. Like, I'm only me. But then I think that if we did it again after research, where you've started to look at solutions and like think about that and propose solutions and start, like doing prototypes or all those sorts of things, that might come back up. You know what I mean? And it's not, and so to judge us that when people have just been exposed to the issues and all the complexity and all the different lenses and how they argue with each other, that's sort of premature to see that as the end, that we have to see the journey after that and how we build the skills to address those issues. So thanks for bringing that up, and good luck with your project. That sounds awesome.
Thank you.
So exciting. So it looks like there's class change for one of our schools, and I know that Miss Petal's class is joining for us. They are at a leadership workshop, and you guys are coming in and out. So I really wanted to say, is there any sort of last thoughts or things we want to share? We'll try to have another one of these before our national conference. Now, if you are interested in more of this, of sitting with other kids from around Canada, sharing your stories, sharing your projects, looking at action and how to make change in your schools, we will be having a national conference in Toronto in February. 2 students and 1 teacher from every school are invited, and the costs are covered. And so there'll be an application form that goes out, and you can be selected to be that kid that comes to Toronto, represents your school, and then gets some skills around action, shares and learns from other students. It's a super awesome time together. And so I'll be sending that out to teachers in the next sort of few weeks, and you can think about it, look at the agenda, see if it's something you want to do, and then let your teacher know you are applying. Otherwise, any thoughts or questions before we say goodbye for today and thank everyone for sharing? All right, they are already out. Mr. Blackwood in the same thing, and Jean-Augustine, thanks for joining. I always say Jean-Augustine because I want it to be French, but I know it is Jean Augustine. And Miss Petal, thank you for bringing in a few students. As always, they're brilliant.
We're very blessed, and Sarah and I were just saying how thankful we are to work with so many people across Canada on these important topics, right? So thank you for bringing us all together. That is what gives us hope, right? That we're working together in action for the future.
Yeah, and I think that's what Willow and Hajian said when they came back from the conferences. It's like, you see that you're not like, even though in your community you're part of something bigger and it feels like, okay, we are making change, but then to see like, okay, it's happening in Korea and it's happening in Nigeria and it's happening in Peru, like we are actually, like there are people who care, and there are
Yeah,
people
and it's incredible. Like they still make those connections. If you look at Grace's 17 by 17 project, the kids Willow and her have met through CGE. They're still working in concert and they're still making those connections. And I know Willow was just saying someone in Australia that she connected through CGE is about to join Grace's 17 by 17. So they're always looking for the future, right? So
Aw,
it's exciting.
that's so good. Oh, I love those kids. And Ms. Petal, we'll see you very soon. Awesome. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great day. Bye.